anti-corruption drive?
Once again, thank you very much for having me. I simply think, if I must be honest and be sincere, I think it's been all motion and no movement. There is so much feelings. But in terms of the we've really not achieved as much as we expect as Nigerians. We all know, and globally, it's known that Nigeria has a terrible reputation in terms of corruption. This is a country that was described as the former British Prime Minister as fantastically corrupt. And the reason is simply because people commit acts of corruption in Nigeria, and different jurisdictions they are found guilty, but in Nigeria they walk free. It's been, among the community of the corrupt elite, the theory is if you want to steal a lot so that when you are caught, you have enough to spread around. From the police to the various institutions who are prosecuting corruption or corrupt individuals, those have enough. Even up to the judiciary, and it has given us a terrible image. Despite the fact that Nigerians are enterprising and Nigerians thrive anywhere in the world, that baggage goes with us everywhere we go. Once you see that great passport, you even ask to step aside when you go abroad. Why? Because even without committing any crime, you are seen as, in fact, you are suspected of being criminally minded, or being corrupt, or being a harbinger of corruption.
All
so
right.
I simply think, despite all the efforts, and efforts have been made, but the efforts have not given us enough results. We have made one or two. We have made one or two things, but it's not enough in terms of where we need to be, especially given our image, given our resources, given the enterprising nature of honest Nigerians.
All right.
We have not made enough progress.
Let me comment real quick, Babatunde. I mean, your submission now is in, a contradiction. To what the Corruption Perception Index, for this year. Early this year, January 2024, precisely, recorded. As of January 2024, Nigeria recorded an improved ranking in the CPI, moving 5 places up to, rank 145 out of 180 countries. Would there be need to question the integrity of these reports sometimes?
The point I'm making is that we have made some gains, but we have not made enough gains.
Okay.
Vis-a-vis where an average Nigerian expects us to be. Vis-a-vis our perception globally. Take your green passport and go anywhere in the world. Look at suspiciously. You saw that nationals, citizens of other nations walk through on India. They are asked to first step aside because there's this perception as Nigeria, you are criminal, you are corrupt, and then an harbinger of corruption. We have made some modest gains, but the point I'm making is that we have not made enough gains. As expected, especially after 1999 when military rule ended, we have not made enough gains. We have had a lot of motion, but we have had very little movement. That's the point I'm making.
Right. Help us get sense of what this presidential pardon, or pardons if you like, is all about, and the prerogative of mercy. For the sake of, the average Nigerian who's out there listening.
Well, why did the Constitution make provision for prerogative of mercy, not just for corruption crime, but for other crimes? But I simply think if any president, any leader, any governor who has under the Constitution has the powers to exercise the powers of prerogative of mercy, but I don't think that should apply to issues of corruption, because Nigeria is where it is simply because of corruption. This was a country that when we gained independence in 1960, every black man on the face of the earth saw us as the hope of the black man. He saw us as the anchor that will lift the average black man. mean, from the way we are perceived, unfortunately, we have not been able to actualize those potentials that we have, those God-given potentials. And if there's any reason why we have not been able to achieve those potentials, it simply boils down to corruption. You know what it means for the country, the head of a country or another country to describe a country as being fantastically corrupt. The powers of prerogative of mercy as inscribed in the Constitution is something that is positive, but it's something that I don't think should apply to crimes, issues like crimes of corruption.
So, by implication, you're throwing your weight behind the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi proposing a constitutional amendment to block presidential pardons for corrupt leaders. But the question now would be, to what extent can this move, enhance the fight against corruption in Nigeria?
Okay, and I want to say this with due respect, that the biggest problem with Nigeria is actually not corruption. Our biggest problem is actually impunity. Impunity simply means that I can commit the crime, and I'm sure, 99%, 95% sure that I'll get away with it. In other crimes, when you do the crime, you are going to do the time. But in Nigeria, when it comes to crimes, criminality, especially criminality around corruption, the court are so sure that if they commit the crime and they steal enough, they can get away. And that is our biggest problem. And I don't think the prerogative of mercy should apply to crimes of corruption. Because when you do it, what you do is that you are feeding impunity. You are making people feel that no, if I do it, I can get away, provided I steal enough. Unfortunately, one of the most unfortunate incidents in our history was when our former president, Jonathan Goodluck, used that power to pardon the leader Alamisia. After he was convicted, our president misapplied the powers that he had under the provisions of prerogative of mercy to grant presidential amnesty and pardon to leader Alamisia. I therefore support that move by the Attorney General of the Federation, the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General, that the prerogative of mercy should not apply to crimes of corruption.
So would you also say, would it be intelligent to think that was the case with the former president, Muhammadu Buhari too? When he granted, pardon to Taraba and Plateau State former governors?
Definitely.
Jolly Yami and Darie.
I would say exactly the same. The same thing Jonathan did. The former president Muhammadu Buhari took it to the level and granted pardon. Yes, who are convicted. And you know how slowly the wheel of justice went in Nigeria. It's like you are talking of a nation that has been described. It's an embarrassment, it's an insult that the head of state of a different country can describe us as fantastically corrupt, and then we are now reinforcing it by granting pardon to individuals who are convicted by our law courts. And in Nigeria, to be convicted for corruption is an adverse tax. In the past years, since I had that to complain, after they do a lot of work, spend a lot of public resources, amass evidence, and get people, especially politically exposed persons, convicted, for such persons to be granted pardon. As the disservice not just to their own, but the disservice to the nation. And what this does is that it feeds into that. It feeds impunity. It tells people that just do it, don't worry, have enough money, have enough political clout, you can buy influence. And I don't think it is good for us, it's not good for our image. And then it sends the wrong signal to other countries who even convict their own nationals who commit acts of corruption in Nigeria. In the case of Aaron and all the others, people who are convicted were sent to jail outside Nigeria. But their partners in crime in Nigeria, they are working free. Even the one or two of them who managed to get a conviction against ended up getting pardon. I don't think that's the right way to apply the the powers of prerogative of mercy that the Constitution grants, our leaders, the president and even governors in certain cases.
But is it just a case of, I'm sorry to butt you, is it just a case of impunity, or, the institutions that are saddled with the responsibility of mitigating corruption, they are not really efficient?
Really, for me, like I did say earlier on, our biggest problem in Nigeria is impunity. That I can do it. I have no fear of retribution. I have no fear I can be made accountable. I have no fear I will do the crime if I do the crime. That's the biggest problem. You can address the issue of impunity. Impunity, what is impunity is when you now apply this power of pardon for individuals who have betrayed public trust and we manage to get conviction against them, and then you turn around to say, we pardon you, let's go home, your sins have been forgiven. When society does not get justice, what the biggest damage you can do to any society is to set and get the right political connection, get the right political manage, get the right, what is it called? Get the right crowd, and then you can walk free. If you do that, you are sending the wrong signal to society, and you are telling other people, don't do it, but do it well. Don't you know that you have enough to spread around?
That actually speaks volumes, one would say. But now, judging by the progression of events under this administration, do you see a warm reception to this proposition by the AGF or kickbacks at the end of the day?
I can guarantee you the AG, the Honorable Attorney General, will face a major challenge. Because the question is, who are these who pass the law? We were talking about the National Assembly as a former, what is it called, Assistant Inspector General. I who got into the Senate, stood up one day and said, you can see in that same Senate, the same people has been investigated, he has prosecuted, many members of that same Senate and National Assembly. So what can be more indicting? So the same body you want to now go to tell you that, okay, let us amend the law. I wish him well and I hope it will fly, but I have my doubts. If the current National Assembly has constituted, we want to give their support to such a bill. I remember at the point we were pushing actively for the non-conviction access official, such that if a man is accused of corruption, come and prove to the court that you are not corrupt and whatever it is you have, you earn it legitimately. It didn't fly, they defeated it. And they did that because they know they are going to be the first victim of that law. Because right now, it is the anti-corruption agencies who have to prove that you are corrupt. But the non-conviction access official, even if you don't go to jail, the law will deny you the enjoyment of the process of crime. And that's the biggest justice you can do to society. Because if a corrupt individual continues to enjoy the process of crime, the crime of corruption, if you are telling society, don't do it, don't worry. Just commit the crime and still enough. So you have enough to spread around. But the non-conviction-based asset official law that was defeated, about some years back, what they just told us that, don't worry, even if you're in court, you can continue to use that money to push, to bribe, to criminally, what is it called? Induce those who are supposed to dispense justice, and then nothing comes out of it. It's a disservice to grant pardon to any individual who has been convicted of the crime of corruption.
All right. Again, that speaks volumes. But looking at this administration, really, what is your assessment of the President Bola Tinubu-led, administration's effort or drive, move, if you like, to fight corruption head-on?
Well, I think the jury is out. We know the records, the cases, and even the general affection of the current president. And some of these things, forget the legal matters and all what have you. The jury is out already in the current administration. I don't see the current administration being in a position to fight corruption in any reasonable manner. Even the man, the so-called megastar, that everybody has so much faith in before he got to power, that yes, he would tame corruption. What happened? 8 years of work. What did we see? Rather than corruption being tamed, in fact, corruption became mega. In doing new dimension of corruption actually emerged.
One would begin to
wonder. Cannot address corruption. I don't think the current administration has the capacity. It's like giving the antecedent of the current president.
But let me ask you this, Babatunde, what really happened to the whistleblower policy? That was supposed to help, in the fight against corruption.
Sorry, I didn't get that clearly.
Yes, I'm asking what happened to the whistleblower policy?
Well, we all knew that it was dead on arrival. That's why the push to institutionalize it by enacting a law that will first protect whistleblowers and equally ensure that they are not victimized. That has not seen the light of the day. We saw it. I mean, it became a major thing, and we are all hopeful that yes, this can become a major plank in the fight against corruption. Over time, I mean, before the last administration left power, it's more or less. It weathered out. It didn't. I mean, the momentum which it started, over time we saw it even before the administration left power. That it became ineffectual. We saw whistleblowers being victimized. We saw even promises made under that policy not being even delivered. We saw people who came forward with information becoming victims. So I think this is a good policy, and it's really globally. I mean, as a major plan for fighting corruption. But like we did say, we can't have that policy being sustained without having a law to back it, a legal instrument to back it up.
All right.
If we have it, and there's any political commitment, then it can become a major plank. Because Nigeria is probably one country that has laws for everything. The question is, how well do we implement those laws?
All right, Babatunde, I'll let you hold your thought. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment to continue the conversation. This is Eagles Outlook on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. Do stay tuned.
For so long, you've been silenced. We have just found your voice. Take it, use it.
You assess Nigerians before we become politicians or before you become member of any political party. The kind of things that happen in Nigeria, it's so obnoxious that if God looks down from heaven, you realize that we are really paying for our sins.
Speak your truth and be heard on the Eagles Morning Rise, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eagle, experience you can count on.
Playing the best music from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is
102.3 Long weekend.
Spend this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins.
Who's ready for winter? Woo! Nobody? Me either.
102.3.
Through our research and policy memos, we have identified the challenges facing youth civic participation. Now, it's time to equip you with the tools you need to engage with government agencies and elected leaders effectively. Are you tired of feeling sidelined in the governance process? Do you want to make a difference in your community? Don't let your voice go unheard. Tune into Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Civic Marches and
From Milky Way to
Without me, you would have been nobody. But
Join Media Coalition and Awareness to Halt Human Trafficking, MICAT, on I Wish I Knew radio drama every Saturday at 10 a.m. Let us join hands and kick human trafficking out of our communities. I Wish I Knew radio drama, brought to you by MICAT in partnership with the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and funded by the Embassy of Denmark in Nigeria.
No
offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.
Eagles 102.3.
For so long, you've been silenced. We have just found your voice. Take it, use it.
You assess Nigerians before we become politicians or before you become member of any political party. The kind of things that happen in Nigeria, this is so obnoxious that if God looks down from heaven, you realize that we are really paying for our sins.
Speak your truth and be heard on the Eagles Morning Rise, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience you can count on.
All right, welcome back from that break. This is Eagles Outlook on Eagles FM 102.3, I beg your pardon, Abuja, your radio experience you can count on. Well, it's now time for you to share your thoughts with us on the topic of discussion, which is, can the moves to block presidential pardon for corrupt leaders enhance the fight against corruption? Can the moves to block presidential pardon for corrupt leaders enhance the fight against corruption? Now, this comes with a big question mark, and you can call 090-8766-8888, 090-8766-8888. That is the number to call this morning to be part of the conversation. You can also drop a message and a voice note for us on WhatsApp on 090-0970-54450. That is 0909-7054-450. Please, if you're dropping a voice note on the WhatsApp platform, do well to introduce yourself and also state your location and make it very brief. As a matter of fact, it must not exceed 1 minute 30 seconds, right? And whilst we're calling to make our contributions, let us bear in mind that if you must criticize, your criticisms should be objective and constructive without the use of vulgar or abusive language. Yes, very, very important. Let's not have, a repetition or a repeat of what happened earlier, during the newspaper review segment. So let's, be guided and remain civil while we make our contribution on the show this morning. The Attorney General of the Federation, yes, and Minister of Justice, that's Lateef Fagbemi, he has proposed the constitutional amendment to block, presidential pardons for corrupt leaders, aiming to strengthen the fight against corruption. Now, my guest who I actually spoke with earlier is still on the line, as a matter of fact, and he would really be glad to react to some of the concerns that some of you are going to raise on the show this morning. He is of the opinion that indeed so much has been done, in the fight against corruption, but the gains are quite insignificant. But again, do you really think that this proposition will get, the warmest reception, from Nigerians and also, the President Tinubu-led administration? Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Eagle.
Good morning. Your name and location, please.
My name is Abubakar, calling you from Gwagwalada.
All right, go ahead, Abubakar.
The Constitution empowers President to grant state pardon, to grant amnesty to political offenders, and who he deems fit to grant pardon. But it should not be corrupt office holders. We have seen in the past where coup plotters, political offender of the state were granted a state pardon. But it should not be extended to corrupt political office holders who have amassed humongous wealth to their advantage. So the best way is to fight corruption from its root. We should forestall corrupt practices, not until somebody has acquired great wealth to his advantage, big mansions, acquire properties, then you say we are fighting corruption. It should be forestalled from the root. That is my thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. from Gwagwalada. Right, 09087668888 is the number to call this morning to be part of the conversation. And you can also drop a message for us on WhatsApp on 0909-7054-450. Can the moves to block presidential pardon for corrupt leaders enhance the fight against corruption? And also, what is your personal assessment of, the fight against corruption in Nigeria? Let's get your thoughts. We have a message here. And, okay, I think we can take this call before we take the messages. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Effie.
Yes, your name and location, please.
Yes, thank you. This is Arami calling from Central area. Before I make my contribution, on a lighter note, we the Igulebe family, we are mobilizing for a peaceful protest to our station to protest against my sister Martha and Udwak. So for them that leave without informing us.
Going on leave?
Yes, with this Martha have been away for some days now. Udwak was also, so we are going to protest that they didn't inform us that they'll be going on their leave.
They are not on leave, actually. We actually had a little shake-up, you definitely would hear from Martha, I think, tomorrow or next.
Okay.
And yes, Udwak, you definitely will hear from him.
So we are going to share the protest then.
Thank you.
We are going to share the protest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, pardoning corrupt, corrupt individuals. My question will be, on what basis? I remember vividly when one of the highlights of Buhari's administration fight against corruption, which would have been the huge success, was when Ojuzo Kalu, the former governor of Abia State, was jailed, and the former governor, is it Plateau, and Taraba, is it Taraba or where now? About three of them, yes, they were jailed. But suddenly we heard that they were given just less than a year of their prison sentence after the EFCC have wasted billions of taxpayers' money to prosecute that case, spending several years. That was perhaps the most successful, corruption prosecution by the EFCC. See this establishment that it was, it got to a logical conclusion. And then less than a year, we were told that the Council of State decided to grant them state pardon. We heard also when Jonathan was the president, and MSCR, the deputy governor, the governor, whom Jonathan was the deputy when he was in Bayelsa. When Jonathan granted him amnesty and returned all the seized assets that he got through corruption. So this is why you know that this corruption fight is an elitist thing. By the time the elite settle, when they are fighting political battles, they use the EFCC to fight one another, wasting our resources. Then when they reach an agreement or settlement, they go ahead and betray the trust of the people and bastardize the institution.
Alamin, let me come in real quick, if you'd let me. The case of Darie and Nyame, the pardon they received, or the got, was on the grounds of age and ill health. Should that also be, swept under the carpet?
No, if they are disagree, do you know how many millions or thousands of people that died from the corruption? There's no billions that is made to build hospitals, schools. These are part of the insecurity. And there are over 15 million Nigerians out of school children in the north. So this is part of the problem. When you refuse to build hospitals, do you know how many women try to give birth that they couldn't access basic, primary health care for delivery for child and the causes of child and mother's mortality rate. They deny, the Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, the basic life, and they call them, they put them to their early grave. So if you're sick after your corruption, you should be treated in prison.
All right.
Go take there are hospitals in prison now, FA. So yes, if we can push it through, we shouldn't be pardoning, corrupt leaders. We shouldn't be pardoning people that have been established that truly they stole from the country. What we should be doing is actually, to completely ostracize them and their family and blacklist them from contesting any public office in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alamin, for your line of thought right there, blacklisting them from, political, or public offices. I mean, one would say is a step in the right direction, but should that also rub off on, their family members? But again, that's another question that, one might want to, contend with. This morning, you can call us on 090-8766-8888 or the WhatsApp. Send us a message or drop a voice note right there on 090-09-7054-50. Right. Hello. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning to you. Hello. All right. I think we lost that call. Please do well to call back. Do well to call back. I'll just go ahead and take some of the messages we have on the WhatsApp platform this morning. This one here says, "Good morning. I think the constitutional amendment need now into okay. I think the constitutional amendment is needed, right, to successfully fight corruption in Nigeria. It's to emulate countries like South Africa, where the judicial arms of government can also present bills to becoming laws concerning herself, just like the legislative and executive arms of government. If not, Nigeria judicial systems will still be going in circles because the legislative arms of government will never sponsor a bill detrimental to herself, which happens to be shedding corruption, a public office holder." Abbas reporting from Dutse, thank you so much for that message. But it was almost, a difficult, task, one would say, to get sense. But I think the point you're trying to make is we need, very strict and, very, very strict laws, as a matter of fact, to address these anomalies. 090-8766-8888 is still the number to call this morning. Call in and let's hear your thought as we discuss the topic. Can the moves to block presidential pardon for corrupt leaders enhance the fight against corruption? Yes, that is the topic of discussion this morning. I missed a number of calls already. Please do well to call back because I don't need to take a message from the WhatsApp platform. So do well to call back, and don't forget you can also send a voice note to the WhatsApp platform. Make it very brief, 1 minute 30 seconds for the voice note on WhatsApp. And don't forget to state your name and location. It is very, very important. Yes. What are your thoughts? What is your personal assessment, of the fight against corruption in Nigeria? Let's now look at this, administration. I mean, the President Bola Tinubu-led administration. Of course, the president has already given Nigerians, the impression, not impression per se, but the assurance, yes, that he would fight corruption head on. And of course, taking a look at the progression of events thus far, one would say that it looks like all is actually, going well with regards to that, promise or assurance, if you like. And if you also take a look at the EFCC, for example, the EFCC boss seems to, he seems to be very, very mean and very, very firm, very intentional, I beg your pardon, when it comes to fighting corruption, taking a look at his, the body language of the commission thus far. But some people will say that the more you look, the less you see. But if you actually have such, impression, please call in and let us get sense, of what you make of, all of this. I mean, corruption, particularly, of which some people say is the bane of Nigeria. Let's hear from you. Let's take this call. Oh, all right. Do well to call back. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Your name and location, please.
Just that I want just to cover where our namesake, where my sister, where my Ujan Dan and my namesake. I hear my brother now, they ask of them, say we will come for places. I want to know first, what happen for them.
They are
How far is well.
They are very well. They are resting.
Tell us now, we no go beat you, so we no go give you frog job. I beg, tell us, please. So anytime when they want to come on, make sure they tell us so that our mind, we will call our mind will calm down.
Don't worry.
You know why I know they call regularly? My name na Bibi Blessing. I call it from Osako.
Okay.
You know why I know they like to call? They no be say I know they like to call. It's said for us to put mind for government like that, the better we claim job for ourselves because this made you intelligent people that they call for this lady. Even the people where they even not president, that they call this lady, no be until they mention their name, I go tell you. But whereby we are talking how Nigeria go take better for us, they no care to listen for us. That is why Kukuma say, instead for me to waste my time to call, let me claim another job for myself by doing chop one, chop two. So while you know they hear my voice, no be say I know they listen, sometimes I go just man or say no. Both of people where they call, this way we they call. Nothing they do. This corruption we are talking about, who started? Now politicians start corruption for our Nigeria, but they cannot fight corruption. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Baby Blessing. If you hear me, when you say politicians are the ones that are corrupt, can you please turn down the volume of your radio set, please? Because the feedback is not really nice. When we say that our politicians are corrupt, are we also trying to exonerate or, just shy away from the fact that the masses, some of them are equally corrupt? I mean, there are so many things that some Nigerians do on a daily basis that actually speaks to corruption. Baby Blessing.
So now, how they go take fight this corruption back? Look at money where will it cover. See, today, what did they take a do for common man? Look at how people they are suffered to buy fuel. Now, corruption be that, let me tell you. Now, you when you don't get money, you go pass back here, bribe people where they sell fuel. You when you just come now, you go enter, you go buy. That's the way you queue for fuel, cannot see fuel. What are we saying? We are talking about corruption. So do we know what corruption means? Corruption wey be say person go dey for office, you go dey use barrel dey steal, or you dey for your house, you go dey use barrel dey steal. Money wey you suppose to take pay worker, you cannot use that money pay worker. Only you handily chop that money. Now when you want to fight corruption, who corrupt? Is it me and you we corrupt? No. Where we dey see this money? Where we dey see this money wey we are talking about? Okay, Moses, where this our president the enter, the other one come say they fight corruption, we support her. But because he say na corruption, they fight her back because he cannot fight corruption. Because wait, don't let this see. Can he come out to say this person see? What of you? When we they talk now, when we first of all start for their first now, all this corruption, what are they fighting? What are they fighting? Okay, look at the election where we want to for Edo State now. We are talking about issue of security. People they are go farm, they are wasting their life. Now they cannot carry police, carry army, go guide these people. But when election come, they go mobilize police because of election, because of one particular place. They go carry police go there. Tomorrow they go say we are fighting corruption. The money where they don't recover for us, where is the money? Let them bring it back.
Thank you very much, Baby Blessing. Thank you so much for calling, but we must leave it here for now. You spoke with so much passion this morning, and I mean that particular story about the deployment of over 30,000 security personnel to Edo State, just to ensure law and order in the course of the election. It has been sparking a lot of reactions from Nigerians, views and counter views thus far. But let's take this call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, the radio anchor. I don't know your name.
My name is Omoefe, please.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Ubunna Jackson on the line.
What's your name?
Ubunna Jackson on the line.
From where are you calling?
Good here.
All right, go ahead.
This is my first time hearing from you in this video. Thank you very much. When we are saying fighting corruption, I will give you one instance. 1976, Obasanjo was head of state to 1979. Obasanjo came back in 1999 to rule. 1983-85, Buhari overthrew the government of Shehu Shagari. After 85, he came back to rule. 1992, Tinubu was a senator. Today, after 2023, he won election to be a president. Calculate the people who has ruled with Obasanjo in his cabinet, and they calculate Buhari, and they calculate Tinubu. It is rotation. So how will they fight? They are fighting for them. Maybe the language they are using is wrong. They cannot fight it because they are within their self. You can't fight yourself now. You can't. You can't fight yourself. So let them use a language we will understand. We are talking. I know about 5 EFCC chairman that has left. Nothing has come out of them, even though the last one before Magu, before the young man Abdulaziz, whatever.
But Ogbonna, let me ask you this, because when we talk corruption, fingers are always pointing at the politicians, the elite. Yes. Would you say you've not indulged in any corrupt act?
It depends the act area we are looking at.
Corruption is corruption, Ogbonna.
Let me give you an instance. I'm not part of whatever they are doing. Yes, corruption is corruption. If there is a corruption in my family, my children will dictate it. My neighbors will dictate it. My customers, maybe the business I do, they will dictate it. But the society at large will not. So why are we emphasizing on this government? Because it's government money, it's everybody's money. So some particular people are the one. Those people are involved. That's the people that I counted, like the few I counted now. That is why they call it corruption. Yes, corruption is corruption, like I said. If I say anything that will deter you now, I have corrupted you. That's what the meaning of corruption. Taking you from where you are not. It is a financial aspect of it. It's corruption. In professional aspect of it, it's corruption.
All right, Ogbonna, thank you so much. Let's leave it here.
So it will not solve. If it is financial aspect of it in Nigeria, it will not solve because it's the same people rotating.
All right, Ogbonna, thank you so much. I'm afraid I just have to let you go because of time. I'll take this message from the WhatsApp platform. It says, "Good morning. This is Mr. Uche from Abuja. Thank you so much." He says, "There is nothing like fighting of corruption in Nigeria because it's always the political opponents that are at the receiving end. The display of ill-gotten wealth by political leaders without restraint encourage corrupt tendencies amongst our leaders. You can only fight corruption with clean hands, which is not obtainable in Nigeria because there is none that can claim to be corruption-free. Unless agencies saddled with the mandate of fighting corruption are independent and devoid of executive control, fighting corruption in Nigeria will still remain a mirage." All right, Uche from Abuja, thank you so much for that one. And I think we have a voice message on the WhatsApp platform, but I won't be able to take it. But thank you so much for sending it regardless. And I think this is just going to be about the size of the program or the show this morning. Thank you all so much for calling. I must say a very big thank you to my guests. Public affairs commentator, the person of Comrade Babatunde Oluwajo, who joined us live via telephone this morning. I really would have loved him to, react to some of the submissions, but time is not our friend. But tomorrow is another day, and we hope to, serve you better tomorrow. Thank you all so much for calling. I would like to state very clearly, very, very clearly, that the views expressed by the callers and the guest, they were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. Until tomorrow, I am Omo Ife Peace Osemere. Good morning.